discussion. One thing I use my backpack for is to keep all the crap out of my pockets. Because during the day, if you sit down or lay down, stuff in your pockets gets in your way. Lay your mat down and angle it away from the target a little bit, maybe 30 degrees or some angle such that when you get down in position, you'll be on your mat. And I had trouble with that for a long time. I'd always end up laying over here and my mat would be over here. But just kind of lay it out so that it'll be on your target. If you guys could move back here. Okay, nobody's in front of me, it's still not loaded. Sling position will probably be looser than it is at the seated position. With my sling, it's usually 1 notch looser than the seated position. So before I ever get to 300 yards, I'll go ahead and make the adjustment before I get to the line. Also have my stool right here, have my magazines laid on my mat so I can reach them without moving once I get in position. Turn the sling in the direction of your arm. Keep the buckle up near the keepers. What's the buckle on the sling? That metal part that holds it together. The frog, okay, frog or buckle. What's these leather rings that go around the sling? What are they called? Keepers? Okay, keepers. So adjust your, with experience you'll learn how loose it should be or how long it should be. Make it easier to get in position once you get up to the line. Put it on your arm. I like to have it up high, kind of up where the seam would be on your coat. Both keepers up against the buckle or frog. Swing your arm around, it goes onto the rifle. You want to have as much bone support as possible and sling support. The sling will allow you to relax the support arm. I get my elbow pretty much under the rifle so that the weight of the rifle will be going down pretty much straight down the bone so that everything is lined up with this support arm. Get my head in the right position such that I've got good cheek pressure, and I usually shoot with my head fairly close to the rear sight. My nose is pretty close to the charging handle, but that varies with the way you're built and your size and your arms and stuff like that. But whatever's comfortable, but head position and cheek weld is very important in this position, just like all the others. I have my right, so I'm left-handed, have my right leg straight down behind me, turn the foot in toward me, have the other leg up here, cocked. That gives me room in here so I can breathe. And also move this arm to load and move the stock into my shoulder. Use this hand, put this stock into your shoulder, the same spot every time. And then wave at the guy beside of you and then roll in position. This hand can have a little bit of pressure. You don't want to really grasp the forearm. You can hold it a little bit. You don't want to be squeezing it like you are back here with your pistol grip. Just letting the rest on the hand is fine. Letting a little bit of finger pressure is okay, but very little finger pressure. You don't want to squeeze it for sure. In the rapid fire stage, typically you'll be down here, well, just like seated rapid, sometimes you stand, sometimes you stay in position. We'll just talk about staying in position for now. You would have 2 magazines laying here. When the targets come up, or they say targets, or they say fire, then you would pick up the magazine, shove it in, try to pull it out, and then drop the bolt and get in position and fire the string. And of course, as soon as you roll over into position, you want to verify your natural point of aim, take a breath or so, and then start your shot routine.
Don't you think it's also important after you fire your first 2 rounds and you drop your mag, come out of position, when you get back into position again, you check your natural point of aim all over again?
Yes, you're exactly right. And when I go back for the second magazine, when I've got it loaded and I put the stock back in my shoulder, I usually take a couple breaths and take my time for that first shot to make sure it's on target and it's a good shot. And then after that, I just go into a routine of fairly rapid follow-up shots, but a breath between each shot to keep your time.
Because if you rush after you change your magazine, they're going to go all over the place.
Any questions about this position? How much time?
70 seconds.
70 seconds. Okay.
Because it's 300 yards, it's going to give you 10 more seconds.
This is also you're going to, it started from you're going from standing to prone, and it takes a little bit longer to get in the prone position. Supposedly I can do it faster.
I just fall down.
Well, what I do is, okay, I'm laying in position, I've dry fired for about 3 minutes. I look at where my elbow is and see that it's right there on the seam of my mat. See where this knee is? This dirty spot on the mat. I use that as another guide, and also use this right foot. I don't move it.
Left
Stand
foot,
up.
left, right hand.
Also, this is just me. I notice nobody else does it. But when I stand up, I do this and breathe. You ever see me do that? That's to let my coat slide back down. Because laying down, it'll tend to slide up. But then, anyhow, I'm in position. I haven't moved this hand. I do grasp the rifle so I can hold it.
Also, when you're in the grass, like he was talking about where your elbows and knees are, you'll notice that when you shoot in grass, your elbow and your knee will make indentations in the mat. And it's pretty good about, telling where to put your knee and your elbow.
Okay, but in the standing position, I'm holding the rifle. Here they'll say load, so I've got a pocket, I take it out and I load it. But it's still, the chamber's empty, but the bolt's closed. Then I start listening to commands. I start breathing a little bit heavier. I start watching the targets. As soon as the targets start going up, I don't look at the targets anymore. I look at the spot on my mat, put the knee down, and then go down and put my elbow back in the same spot on the mat. That gets my NPA very close. Then once I get up in position, then I may move a little bit just to refine that natural point of aim. And then after that, I start shooting. Also, when they start making the line commands, I'll start looking at the flags or the mirage or the wind to try to figure out how much wind to put on the gun. And typically, before I even go up to get on the line or the prep period, when I'm back scoring or I'm in the ready position or something like that, I will have been watching the wind and pulling out my chart and my wind meter and figuring how much the wind is and how much I should put on the gun. And before I get up here, I'll say, well, it should be between 3 clicks and 8 clicks, or between 5 or 7 clicks, somewhere in that range. And then when I actually start to go down to shoot, or when they start the commands, I'll make that final decision and make that adjustment, and then I don't change it after that. And right now, if you can just figure it out, well, the wind's blowing to the left, I should turn my knob to the right, to the left, to the left. Now, if the wind's blowing from left to right, I should move the sights in the leftward direction. And right now, it's a good place to start looking for wind for you guys. Questions?
I don't have to worry about what the,
Okay, what we're going to do next is have you set up your position for the prone position, set up your slings, and get your natural point of aim and dry fire for a few minutes. And then we'll shoot a string of rapid fire, say in about 10 minutes from now.